They said I was a genius. Maybe that's why they hated me. The blood on the floor wasn't the worst part. It was their laughter. That night, I realized something. Fear doesn't fade until you make it. My name is Poppy Weaver, 15 years old, public school, Chicago. People say I'm quiet, the kind of girl who always sits in the front row, answers every question, never looks back. They think I like attention. They're wrong. I just like solving things that make sense. Numbers do. People don't. Mom says I was born smart. That brain will take you far, honey, she always says. But she doesn't see the way they look at me. The smirks, the whispers, the way they wait after class. I tell her school's fine. It's easier than watching her worry. That's why I wear the gray hoodie. Every day. It's not because I'm cold. It's because I don't want them to see the bruises. Sometimes I touch the sleeve and wonder if the fabric remembers. The tug, the shove, the sound of lockers slamming shut. It's strange how silence can be louder than a scream. This morning, I left before sunrise. Mom was still asleep, one arm over her eyes. I wanted to tell her I was scared. I didn't. Instead, I zipped up the hoodie, tied the strings tight, and whispered to myself, "You're fine, Poppy. Just one more day." Outside, the streets were empty, the sky gray like the hoodie itself. My reflection in the school window looked smaller than I felt, but I kept walking. Because that's what I do. I keep going, even when everything in me wants to stop. Fear doesn't fade, not by itself. You have to make it. Math class was always the only place I felt safe. Numbers never laughed. They never lied. "Can anyone solve this?" Mr. Howard asked, chalk tapping the board. The room went quiet. I felt every pair of eyes shift away, except mine. I raised my hand. "It's -32. He smiled. "Correct, as always, Miss Weaver." A few kids clapped mockingly. I heard the snickers from the back. Chad and his friends. "Wow, genius strikes again," one whispered. Another added, "Maybe she sleeps with her calculator." Their laughter followed me until the bell rang. After class, I packed my books slowly, hoping they'd leave first. But when I stepped outside, they were waiting near the parking lot. Rain clouds gathered above, thick and gray. "Hey, genius," Chad called. "You think you're better than us?" I didn't answer. I kept walking. He moved closer, blocking my path. "Come on, show us how fast that brain of yours can think. Can you dodge this?" Before I could react, a shove, sharp and sudden, slammed me against the wall. The sound echoed, metal against bone. My notebook fell open, pages fluttering like broken wings. Their laughter filled the air. I wanted to scream, but my voice froze somewhere inside my chest. Someone walked past, looked, then kept going. When they finally left, I picked up my notebook, hands trembling. There was a small tear in the page, a streak of dirt across my sleeve. I pulled the hood over my head and whispered, "It's fine. It's nothing." At home, Mom noticed the bruise forming on my arm. "What happened, sweetheart?" I smiled. Too quickly. "I tripped. Just clumsy." She sighed, kissed my forehead and said, "Be careful next time." I nodded, turned away, and hid my arm under the sleeve again. The fabric pressed against the bruise, warm, soft, familiar. The gray hoodie was the only thing that ever held me when no one else did. I started staying late at school, not because I wanted to, but because the library was the only place that felt quiet enough to breathe. The smell of old paper, The faint hum of lights above. They became my hiding place. I sat between the shelves, pretending to read, counting the minutes until the hallways emptied. When the sky outside turned dark, I finally opened my laptop and typed a message I'd rewritten 100 times. If someone is being bullied, but they're too scared to tell anyone, what should they do? I didn't sign it. I couldn't. I just hit send to Ms. Kelly, the school counselor. That night, she replied. Her words were soft, almost like a whisper. You're not alone. Come see me when you're ready. I'll be here. I stared at the screen for a long time, fingers hovering over the keys. Ready. I wanted to be. But the thought of saying it out loud, of seeing their faces again, made my chest tighten. I closed the laptop instead. At home, Mom was already waiting. You're late again, she said gently. Where were you? I forced a smile. I was running. Just needed some air. She nodded, not convinced. You sure you're okay? Yeah, just tired. I slipped past her, shut the door to my room, and sat on the floor. The hoodie was still damp from the rain. I held it close, pressing my face against the fabric like it could make everything disappear. Outside, I could hear kids laughing somewhere down the street. That same kind of laughter that crawls under your skin. I turned off the light. In the dark, everything felt heavier. The silence, the fear, the lie I kept telling. Every day started to feel the same. Same hallway, same stairs, same heartbeat racing when I heard footsteps behind me. I told myself it would stop. But deep down, I knew. It never really does when you keep quiet. It happened on a Thursday, the sky dark and heavy with rain. I was walking alone, hoodie pulled tight, when I heard their voices. Hey, genius! Going somewhere? Before I could turn, hands grabbed my backpack, dragging me behind the gym. The ground was slick, the smell of wet concrete sharp in the air. Chad smirked. Didn't you learn your lesson? Another boy laughed. Maybe she needs extra credit. The first hit came fast, a shove to my shoulder, then a knee to my ribs. Pain spread like fire, but I stayed silent. If I didn't react, maybe they'd stop. They didn't. Something warm trickled from my nose. Blood. It stained the gray hoodie. A dark, ugly mark. Smile for TikTok, genius! One of them shouted. The phone's red light blinked at me. Recording. Their laughter blurred with the sound of the rain. When they were done, they walked away, still joking. I stayed there for a long time, knees pressed to the ground, hands trembling. I wasn't crying. Not yet. Just shaking, like the world itself was unsteady. Later, at home, I locked my door and turned on the bathroom light. My reflection stared back, pale, lips split, eyes hollow. I touched the dried blood on my hoodie and whispered, "If that video spreads, I'll disappear." For a moment, I thought about deleting everything, erasing myself before they could. But then something shifted. A small, quiet anger. I wiped the blood from my nose and opened my phone. This time, I switched on the hidden camera setting. If they wanted to play a game, I'd stop being the only one who didn't record. Because maybe silence wasn't safety anymore. Maybe proof was the only way out. The next day felt the same. Gray sky, cold air, the sound of lockers slamming like thunder. I told myself to stay invisible. Keep my head down. Walk fast. But fear has a way of finding you, even when you hide. They were waiting again. Same place, same voices. "Hey, genius!" Chad called. Round two? My hands were already shaking inside the hoodie pocket. But this time, I wasn't empty-handed. The phone was on. Camera hidden, screen dark. I pressed record before they reached me. The shove came harder. My back hit the wall. Laughter echoed. You think you're better than us? Say something, smart girl. I didn't. The sound of their fists, their shoes scraping the pavement. It all blurred together. Somewhere under the noise, I could hear my own breathing, ragged and uneven. Then, silence. They left. The rain started again, soft, almost merciful. I stayed on the ground for a while, clutching the hoodie near my chest. The phone was still recording, catching the last traces of their laughter as it faded away. I reached into the pocket and stopped the video. My hands were trembling, heart pounding so loud it hurt. I don't know if this is right, I whispered to no one, but I can't take it anymore. For the first time, I looked around, really looked. The empty field, the wet concrete, the gray sky above. All of it felt like it was holding its breath with me. I closed my eyes and let out a shaky sigh. The fear was still there, but so was something else. A small, burning spark that wouldn't go out. That night, the hallways were empty, only the hum of the lights above and the echo of my footsteps. In my pocket, the USB felt heavier than anything I'd ever carried. Every few seconds, I almost turned back. My hand hovered in front of the principal's office door. The glass glowed faintly from the light inside, warm, steady, safe. But my heart wasn't steady at all. It pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. What if they don't believe me? I whispered to myself. What if this makes it worse? I closed my eyes. For a moment, I saw it all again. The laughter, the blood, the phone pointed at my face. And then Ms. Kelly's email. You're not alone. I took a deep breath. My hand tightened around the USB. No more hiding. I knocked. Once. Twice. The door opened slightly. Principal Monroe looked up from his desk, surprise flickering across his face. Miss Weaver? It's late. Is everything all right? I hesitated, every instinct telling me to run. But I forced the words out, my voice trembling. I have something you need to see. He gestured for me to come in. The room smelled of old books and coffee. I stepped forward, the floor creaking beneath me. The light from his lamp fell across my face. Pale, anxious, but certain. I placed the USB on his desk. My fingers wouldn't let go right away. When they finally did, I felt my chest tighten. Like I'd just handed him a piece of myself. For a long second, neither of us spoke. The only sound was the clock ticking on the wall. Then he said softly, "You did the right thing, Poppy." Maybe he was right. Maybe not. But as I walked out, the hallway didn't seem so dark anymore. For the first time, my hoodie felt lighter. Like it was no longer hiding me, but holding me together. The next morning, the air in school felt different. Tense. Too quiet. Whispers floated through the hallway before I even reached my locker. Did you hear? Cops are here. Something happened behind the gym. I already knew what it was. 2 officers stood near the principal's office, their radios crackling softly. Students stared, pretending not to. Then someone said the names. Chad, Mason, Ryan. And the crowd fell silent. They were gone by lunchtime. Suspended. Their parents called in, faces red with anger and shame. The video, the laughter, everything was now evidence. I sat alone in the cafeteria, my hands tight around the strap of my hoodie. Every noise felt too loud. The clatter of trays, the whisper of rumors. I wanted to disappear, but Ms. Kelly found me first. She sat across from me, her voice gentle. "You did something very brave, Poppy." I looked down. "I didn't want to be brave." "I know," she said. "But you were. And you're not alone anymore." Something in her tone, calm, certain, made my throat tighten. I nodded, unable to speak. When she left, I sat there for a long time, feeling the weight of everything I'd held inside finally start to lift. The fear hadn't vanished, but it wasn't winning anymore. I tugged at my sleeve, gripping the edge of the gray fabric. It was still the same hoodie, worn, faded, but it didn't feel like armor anymore. For the first time, it felt like proof that I had survived. A week later, the school held an assembly for Anti-Bullying Week. Posters covered the walls, bright colors, bold words, but the air still carried a kind of quiet tension. I sat in the front row, my hands tucked into the sleeves of the same gray hoodie. When they called my name, the room seemed to blur for a second. My legs felt heavy, my heart too loud. Still, I walked to the stage. The microphone waited in front of me, the spotlight warm against my face. Hundreds of eyes watched, some curious, some kind. For the first time, I didn't look away. I took a slow breath. "My name is Poppy Weaver," I began, my voice trembling just a little. And for a long time, I thought silence would protect me. The room was still. Even the air felt like it was listening. I wore this hoodie every day because I thought it could hide me, but it didn't. It only hid the truth, the bruises, the fear, the parts of me that needed help. And I learned something. No one deserves to be hurt for being themselves. I paused, searching for the right words. Silence doesn't keep us safe. It only makes the pain last longer. Somewhere in the crowd, I saw Ms. Kelly nod, a small smile on her face. "I'm not here because I'm fearless," I said softly. "I'm here because I finally spoke." Applause started, hesitant at first, then rising, filling the auditorium like a wave. I felt warmth spread through me, something I hadn't felt in months. As I stepped down from the stage, the light caught on my hoodie. Same fabric, same gray. But this time, it didn't look like fear. It looked like strength.